All right, ladies and gentlemen, joining me on the show, Damien Beatdown Brown, of course, for Beatdown Promotions for June 24th, Eaton Hills Hotel in Queensland. You're actually at the airport waiting for some of your fighters to come in.
Oh, man, I pick them up myself. Thanks for having me. Definitely got a couple of guys coming from Japan. So Tsubasa Mori, who's fighting Jack James in the co-main event. These guys come in nice and early. We give them a few extra days here to hang out and have a holiday. But yeah, they've just landed coming from Osaka.
Now, what's it like organising international fights? Is there a certain way you have to go? Do you have connections because of your time with Rizin, or is that how's that work?
Man, I had the first show. I had someone from over there that I had a connection with who helped me, and then since then, people like Jugs from Full Metal Jiu-Jitsu on the Gold Coast, like he's got connections over there. My gym is affiliated with Pariestra, so the legendary Yuki Nakai. So we have a lot of Pariestra gyms over there that give us athletes nominations as well, which is where these guys came from. They came from Pariestra Tanma, which is in Osaka. And I think there's a few people that are happy to get guys on the show. And Japanese athletes are, they're seriously the easiest people to deal with. So, I just find them, they don't really care who they fight. As long as it's an even matchup, they don't really care how much they get paid as long as they get looked after. They're just so easy to deal with, man. There's a lot less stress when dealing with them. So, yeah, we just got good connections from, either my past or, a lot of other local guys that want to see their friends from Japan come here and fight.
So it's not even just like where, unfortunately, on some promotions where you almost get guys brought in internationally almost as like cannon fodder. You obviously care about these Japanese guys as well. So you're invested in them as well, which is good to see.
Yeah, man. I mean, I don't want anyone to be cannon fodder. I don't want Australian guys to be cannon fodder. I mean, you can look across my card and you'd find it hard to sort of, think any fight is a mismatch. But it's definitely for me, like particularly the last card, you can look at all my own athletes and they were matched up very evenly. In fact, a few of them lost, and you could argue they were matched up probably too much the other way. But yeah, my guys always matched up really well, and I don't want to bring the internationals here to lose. That's not how it works.
Now, is that some of them here? Hello.
There you go. That's
what we got here.
Event. So that's Tsubasa and his corner, Shoichi Tomito.
Awesome.
Shoichi's fought for Pancras, and we wanted to get him on the card, but it didn't work out. No featherweights here really were available at the time to take that fight. So, it was a little difficult, that one, but we got his teammate on instead.
Now, you're 4 promotions in, 4 fight shows in. Are we going to start seeing some belts or what's...
Nah, I don't think so. Yeah, I got kind of asked that right from the start. I don't really see the point, man. There's a lot of, I don't know, like, I would argue there's no value in a belt. It looks good for photos, but, from a promoter's point, it's good for the athlete, like, I'm 6-time Australian champion, like Michael Tobin, classic, probably won more Australian titles than anyone that you know. But it's like, I don't know where the value in it is from a promoter's point of view. Say I bring a Japanese guy here, then I got to bring him back. Flights go up, like, and that throws your business model out. A guy fights for me, then fights for Eternal, then fights for Hex, and then fights for Demolition, and then goes and fights in Perth. And then I'm like, hey man, you got to defend your belt. And he's like, oh well, these guys are paying me $5,000 instead of $3,000. And I just don't know what the point of it is besides, a few people looking good, but potentially down the track. I mean, you look at Eternal's belt has some credit. Guys become Eternal champ, and a few of those guys are going to sign the UFC. So potentially down the track, 15, 20 shows in, maybe there's some value in it. But right now, I prefer the idea that we're a platform for athletes to demonstrate their skill set on, to perform, to stay busy, to get paid, all these other things, and not to just win my belt and vacate it because they don't want to come back to Brisbane. So, and that is ultimately that's what the game's about. It's not about loyalty anymore. It's not about do they just fight for me or will they defend it in 12 months? Who knows? So it's like, I just don't know if there's any point in having them, man. I'd rather just put on fun fights that make sense for both guys and the crowd. It's about the fan and fighter experience for us, which is why we just sold out our 4th show in a row. So to me, it's just, I just don't see the credibility in Australian titles anymore. There used to be, but there's not anymore.
And speaking of obviously wins and the money and whatnot, you've got actually a win bonus for the main event. Is that something you've kind of always wanted to implement?
Look, I think Vault Business Advisors jumped on board this time around. Last time was Stratton Property Group. So if you remember the Matt Vale fight versus Will Chope,
yep,
there was a $3,000 win bonus for the main event. And yeah, they're just I just think that as a promoter, you can't come in and be backed by some huge financial investment and then just blast everyone out of the water by paying fighters more. But what you can do is you can implement a business model that attracts corporate sponsors, and you can not pocket that money.
Yeah,
and you can give it to the athletes. And I think, there's only people can work it out, man. There's only so many tickets in the house, and if you work out how much they sell for, you realize you can't really run a show as well as we do without sponsorships. But then do we pocket all that sponsorship money? I mean, I just think that's the wrong thing to do. I just want to pass it on to the fighters. So if we can get the right sponsors on board to put up these kind of win bonuses, it's better for them. It's better for the athlete. And ultimately down the track, it'll be better for us. But right now, it's money in the athlete's pocket, and it's good for the businesses. So it just makes a lot of sense to start to implement things like that. Essentially what we're doing is we're trying to get the fighters sponsored, right?
Yeah.
It's like, if you guys put up this win bonus, whoever the winner is going to be promoting your brand because you just put food on the table. So you could think of it like that, really. And I love it. I love the idea that, we negotiate fight versus and win bonuses, and then on top, companies come on board. And we can't promise those kind of things, but if it happens during camps, during the lead up, then, we can surprise the fighters. Neither of those two fighters in the main event knew that was happening until a week ago. So, they're 7 or 8 weeks in, they've got a good deal. I'm looking after them already. And then a business jumps on board and says, hey, let's do this. And, the guys got a little extra to fight for now. So, it's exciting. And we're going to have one for our next show as well. Beatdown Fires on September 16th. This Saturday night, we're going to announce the main event for that, which I think is going to surprise a lot of people. And there'll be a real nice win bonus on that one too, thanks to Vault Business Advisors.
Awesome. Is there any fight you're particularly looking forward to this card that you think everyone's got to tune in for?
Man, I think we have a really good card, and I don't really want to pick one or the other. But what I will say is our main event is the main event for a reason. Okay, we can put any undefeated fighters against one another and they will protect their record. But Shane Parker and Paul Logar have nothing to protect. These guys don't care about wins and losses. They care about fights. They both entertain. And I put it as the main fight for a reason. I believe that we'll get 3 rounds of the most entertaining action or a clean knockout. So I think if you tune in for the main event, as a fan that likes the entertainment factor, you're not going to be disappointed. If you want to watch, up-and-comers, I think it's worth tuning in to watch Jack James versus Tsubasa Mori. So the Japanese athlete versus, the Townsville lad, both 3-1. And they're both rising stars. They're both young. They're both hungry. They're both rising stars. And the other one would be the veteran in Khan Sandy coming up from Tassie. and he's fighting Blair Braytag. So I loved that fight. Not just because I trained with Blair, but he took a short notice fight, pro debut, no amateur experience on my last card at, the one before that, against the Kiwi, who he filled in for June Tougher at light heavyweight, even though he wanted to fight at middleweight. And now he's at middleweight, coming off a 30-second demolition of a guy with, 10 plus fights, kickboxing, jiu-jitsu, brown belt, MMA fights in New Zealand. He just absolutely completely walked through him. So I'm very excited to see how he comes out for a second fight.
Awesome, mate. I'm very excited for it. It's still going to be on YouTube for free?
Yeah, man. So people can jump on to Beatdown Promotions YouTube channel, subscribe, and we'll put it up for free. I don't have any intention on charging for our shows, so the better the reach, the happier I am. So again, it all really just comes back to making sure that we give the fighters and the fans the experience they deserve. If I don't lose money, then I'm happy.
Mate, I'm loving it. Before I let you go, I got one more question. I saw you in the comments of George Sotiropoulos. Did you get inspired? Will we see you back?
My man, I was never gone. I'll never retire. I tell everyone that closest to me, I'll never retire. The right opportunity will make me fight every time. I have 3 businesses. I'm very busy. I train every day. I've never stopped training in the last 4 years. I just don't train like I'm in camp because, the body can't take it forever. 38 years old. I've got tread left on the tires. I'm hungry. I still like the idea of hurting people. And, I'd happily fight George Sots. But so far, it hasn't eventuated.
So there's been talks.
Yeah. I made an offer to him, so he, I don't want to fight a lightweight. I don't want to fight a super lightweight. He doesn't want to fight a super lightweight. He wants to fight a lightweight. That's okay. So, fights of that magnitude don't just happen. They don't just happen overnight. I won't be popping around the local scene fighting up and coming prospects. That's, I've had my go, and I'm happy to fight guys like George Sots and maybe fly in some older UFC veterans like myself and put on some exciting fights at the end of our career. I'm very happy to do that. But I'm no one's trophy, and I'll never put myself in that position where I've got to fight a 22-year-old just for the sake of my ego. It's just not what it's about. So, I thought George looked good when he came back. I reckon he probably would have won that fight. And it definitely excites me. It would make me train, and it would make me put off some other commitments in order to get ready for it. And that's the kind of fights I think anyone in their late 30s needs to take. It's got to get you out of bed. Sots gets me out of bed, but I'm not making lightweight in 8 weeks. So if he wants it, we have to do it later in the year.
Fair enough. All right, mate. Thank you for taking the time. Of course, Beatdown Promotions, hit up YouTube. You can check out the whole card, subscribe, or Beatdown Promotions on or Beatdown Promos on Instagram. And look, mate, I'm very excited for what you're doing. It's a very unique style of promotion, and it's very high level. So I can't wait to see it. Thanks for taking the time, dude. And I'll see you next time.
No worries, man. Thanks for that. I hope you guys tune in.